I promised that I would show how to show the glosses of these things. These are relationships between different senses, so we can show the gloss of that sense. So let me right-click again to configure. Now, keep in mind that the lexical relations get configured under senses, and the cross-references get configured under the entry level. And what we did at cross-reference level is different from what we did at lexical level. And what I mean is, we had already had the parentheses there at cross-reference level, but it wasn't applying to lexical relations. So we added it. We had to do it in both places to apply to both kinds. So we are focusing on the lexical relations, which is at the sense level. We already talked about how there are nodes for the relation, abbreviation, and name. We only need one of them. We don't need both. And the targets. But notice that targets is a node that has children. It can expand. So the first thing under targets is the reference sense head word. That means the sense that this is referring to, what's the head word for that sense? And that's the thing that gets shown. And so if I highlight that, then it shows us the head word that this reference is pointing at. Now, there are other things under here. The bottom ones relate to custom fields that we had made. And those are available in a lot of places. But I'm interested in this one called gloss. So if I tick this box, it will show me the gloss of the reference. So here it's saying the synonym is gros, and the gloss of that is big. And the antonym is petite, and the gloss of that is small. Now, often you don't need the gloss, but sometimes it's helpful. And so that's a useful thing to know about. So I will click OK. And now you can see that the gloss is showing. Now, especially since I'm showing so much information in the references, it's a good thing I've got these parentheses around it, because otherwise it would be hard to tell the difference between the references and the gloss. So that's how I can do it on sense level relationships. But what about the entry level ones? Let's go back over here. So we have the cross-reference, and so let's right-click on it and see what the options are. Now under the cross-references node, again, we have relation, abbreviation, or name, and targets. Here we have referenced head word. It doesn't say reference sense head word, because this is pointing at an entire entry, and the entry just has a head word. For the other one, we were pointing at a sense, and we needed to know the head word that correlated with that sense. Then under it, we have dialect labels, and we have summary definition. We don't have gloss. And the reason for that is because it's pointing at the entire entry. If there's more than one sense in it, how would it know which sense to show? Now, I can try ticking this, but when I look, nothing shows up. Let me go ahead and leave it ticked, and we'll explain what summary definition is in a moment. I'll leave it ticked because that is what we want to use. I will click OK. Now, at the entry level, there's a number of fields, but keep in mind that there are additional fields at the entry level besides what is showing here. And the way to discover what those are is to tick the box next to Show Hidden Fields. And if I look down this list, just above cross-references, I find summary definition. If I want to check the visibility of it, it's telling me right now it's normally hidden unless non-empty. For now, I'll just leave it like that, and I want to fill it in. So this one means to rain. Now, I'm giving it, for this one, I'm giving it exactly the same as the gloss. It has only one gloss. But if it were a word with more than one sense, I might give it multiple glosses, or I would give it a summary of what all of the glosses are related to. You can put anything you want here. It can be different from the glosses, but it should give some idea of the general meaning of the word. And keep in mind that it's not a normal part of the process to fill this field in. It will only be filled in if you fill it in, if you think, oh, I need this for an entry-level reference. So I have now filled this in. Now, it's not showing up here, but that's because I'm in the entry that has this filled in. The cross-reference here, that one does not have it filled in. But keep in mind that that other entry has a reference pointing back to this entry. So if we want to see the effect of this, we want to go to that entry. So I will click on it. That will take me to that entry. And now in the cross-reference, you can see it says compare pleuvoir to rain. So the summary definition is showing. So here I can fill in the summary definition of this one, and I will make it the same as the gloss. I will make it rain. And now I'm going to untick Show Hidden Fields. Now notice that summary definition continues to show, and the reason it shows here is because it's filled in. If I were to go to a different entry, I don't see summary definition, and that's because it's not filled in for that one. So that's how we can add, make the meaning show for entry-level cross-references.